Anyways, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. It's so cool to have you here and talk to you and get to know you. Because, like we were just talking about, I don't have much information about you. Just our interactions on the system, and of course, I have stalked your website and looked at your work.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. But I also know that you are right here in Bend, which is
Mhm.
really freaking cool. You're down
Yes.
in DR Dub, right?
Yeah, I'm in the Wood Hood.
Yeah. I have not heard the Wood Hood.
The Wood Hood.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a whole different thing out here.
Yeah, my in-laws live out there. They're off
Oh.
of just past the country store. I forget the
Oh, yeah.
turn. You turn
Yeah.
left and then
Uh-huh.
it's down like Navajo or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I'm deeper in.
Got it. So that's why you're in the Wood Hood.
I'm, like, really in the Wood Hood. Yeah.
So cool. What
Yeah.
took you out there?
It was inexpensive, um, but also I have, 2 acres out here of forest. So, yeah, I actually, so you probably not know this, but I grew up in Bend,
Yeah.
and my grandma immigrated to Bend from Canada in the, what was it, 1930s.
Whoa.
So my family, I'm part of the founding people who founded Bend.
Wow.
I'm a unicorn.
You are a unicorn. I've been here for a little over 20 years and I'm a local at this point in
You
time.
are local at this point. Yeah.
But you hear about the Bend natives and like you're a Bend founder.
I'm a Bend founder.
That is really cool.
It's yeah, I never thought it would be cool. I didn't
Sure.
I didn't think it'd be cool, and, um, I spent most of my adult life in cities, and I came back about, oh, I think it's been about 9 years ago now, to help my mom with my grandma who wasn't doing well. And yeah, and this property that I'm on was up for auction because it had been abandoned. Uh, Wood Hood style with toilets and
For
broken down
sure.
cars.
Yeah. Yes.
Um, yeah, so, yeah, we fixed this up and, um, still fixing it up. Mhm.
Why did your grandmother choose Bend?
Her mom moved here, um, and I don't know the original story why they immigrated from Canada. I don't know.
Interesting.
Um, my grandpa's a whole different story. He came from Pitcher, Oklahoma, and they met at Bend High School. I know.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, he was, running moonshine, and I think that was part of it, but it's a crazy story.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. Um, I mean, just to think, so I'm in the O'Kane building, which was
Oh,
built
yeah.
in 1916,
Yes.
and I'm actually in Hugh O'Kane's. Uh, this is technically his residence. So, Suite 30 in this building, it's got living room, dining room, kitchen, bathroom, and two bedrooms in here. And so I'm technically sitting in the dining room of Hugh O'Kane right now.
Cool.
It's really cool. So we actually ran the agency out of this office for 5 or 6 years. When we closed the agency down, we left. And then I guess fast forward a year and a half later, I was like, I want to get back in there. So I got back in here. I split it with my wife. She's in one of the offices and I'm in one of them. And
How
so,
cool.
yeah, it's really fun. We've decorated the living room. So we've got, a couch and some chairs and things in
Nice.
here. So it's just like set it up and have people in and do all the fun things there. But I guess where I was going with that was 1919, 1920, when your grandparents came here. That had to have been a weird time. I mean, a great time, but a very weird time.
For sure. Yeah.
So I can only imagine the stories that you have.
Yeah, there's some good I mean, there's so many stories. I don't wanna bore you with all of them, but,
Please
um
don't. No, please don't
I
hold
like
back. No,
I'm not
don't hold back.
my grandpa worked in the old mill, of course, and, my grandma worked downtown in the old building that is the old, oh, I forget what they call it. It used to be a jail, but now it's a museum. It's right downtown. It was like the legal building of the time. So she was a transcriber for legal. What do they call us? Stenographers,
Yeah,
legal
yeah.
proceedings. And she said the jail was located 2 feet from where she worked.
Whoa.
So she would listen to the people, being rowdy, but they were really amazing, um, full-blown West type pioneers,
Yeah.
tough as nails.
Well, I think you had to be at that time here. I mean,
Mhm.
this was a wild spot. I couldn't in the 20s, what was there, like 3,000 people here, maybe?
Well, I'm sure it was less.
Like, in the hundreds?
Yeah, I mean, my grandpa came out partly he was running moonshine and partly to work in the mill because logging was a big thing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I don't know the story of my grandma, but anyway, so all of my family's here, all of them. Like my mom, my uncle, my dad, like it's family central.
So cool. And so you said that you had traveled for most of your adult life, meaning
Yeah.
you lived in cities. Where'd you go?
So I've lived a lot of places.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've lived in Seattle, I've lived in Oakland, I've lived in Denver. I met my husband in New York, like just I've uh I've been everywhere.
That's so awesome. And was that just like the travel phase of your 20s or something like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, part of it was, wanted out of this small town at the time was not like it is now. Um, and yeah, I have 2 degrees. I went to school at Southern Oregon University in Ashland, and then I moved to Seattle, worked at the Attorney General's office for a while, and on my off time was a modern dancer and then decided I didn't want to starve. And I wanted to be an artist. So I moved myself to the Bay Area to go to design school.
Nice.
Mhm.
And what did you study at design school? Is it just I'm very uneducated when it comes to like are there individual disciplines at those art schools?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what
Yeah,
did you study?
I started in graphic design, but then I think it was the second part of that program, I ended up in motion design because if do you know Petrola, who's good friends with Christo, who teaches at the Art Center?
I don't think so. No.
She said to me the other day, which was really interesting, that people who gravitate towards motion design are probably musicians. And having been a dancer, when I went from graphic design to motion design, that component really made sense to me. So yeah, I kind of fell in love.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so that's basically what you decided to do for your career from that moment forward.
Yeah, until the last 2 years. And then the whole world changed. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And then like so we can probably go back and dive into some of those things, but where are you now? What are you doing?
So I have a studio that I run out of my home, like you. It's called Cremonti, and I've done that for a long time. Um, and then about 3 years ago, I got really into AI stuff, which made me a little bit of a pariah, but I was curious. I was just curious, what is this thing?
Yeah.
Um, and I still use AI a lot, but motion design really tanked, a lot along with creative industries. So, I started working more in AI and I'm kind of straddling the 2, and all of a sudden this year, motion design came roaring back.
Really?
Yeah, everybody's busy. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm riding the wave right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, motion design, art direction, That's kind of my shtick up here in the Woodhood.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I don't know a ton about motion design. I'm very familiar with it. I know what it is. Um, I've dabbled in a little bit of all of the disciplines in the arts, right? When
Oh,
meaning like I messed around in After Effects. I got not a lot of skills, but I could pull some all right stuff together. You know, I think if you give me a template, I can manipulate that template to do what I want. So I'm pretty solid. But when I was in high school, so I grew up in a town called Loomis outside of Sacramento, so up Interstate 80. And in high school, I thought I wanted to be a graphic designer, and I wanted to go to Chico State.
oh,
A
wait, why?
A for the parties,
I knew it. I
definitely for the
knew it.
parties.
Uh-huh.
But then I heard that they had a really great graphic design program there, and those, I mean, the idea of going to college stopped for me because essentially I moved to Bend,
Oh.
and there was a lot of external forces in all of that, meaning Sacramento just wasn't a place for me.
I understand.
Um,
Mhm.
there was just kind of a lot of that California vibe that I was kind of done with. I grew up there as a great place. It was safe, but it was time for something different. And out of high school, I did a lot of traveling with some friends, and Bend was one of the places to go. And it
Yeah,
was like go up there and go skiing. And
yeah.
one day my buddy was like, "Hey, do you want to move to Bend and be ski bums?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." So we quit our jobs. 2 weeks later, we were packing our trucks full of everything that we had, and we drove up to Bend. And this was 2005. And when we got here, there was no place to rent or anything. There was just, it was just dead. Like the
Mhm.
housing crash had already started,
Oh,
right?
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right, it was dead.
it was dead. We luckily found a place. It was this little townhome, and it was $400 for rent. And we were like, we'll take it. It's the only place in town that's available. And we got there. For the first few months, there was no jobs. There was nothing. I couldn't get a job at Red Carpet Car Wash in the winter time.
Serious.
It was bad. So we burned through our savings pretty quickly and ended up um, through a temp agency, got in at Geldwin. And so we both worked at Geldwin for a few years in the mill, basically.
In the middle.
Yeah, in the mill part there, off of Boyd Acres, and
Yeah.
running big equipment, risking our fingers every day, and all
God.
of that stuff. So where I'm going with this was the college dream basically disappeared.
Oh,
As
yeah.
soon as you moved to Bend, it was like, oh shit, how do we survive? Like college was a distant thing for me.
Yes, yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So after a few years of working at Geldwin, it was like, all right, maybe we should go back to college. It was COCC, and then OSU had a little satellite. It was like just a little tiny space there. And then they offered the business program, and I went into business. And so the graphic design path was like one that I wanted to mess around with, but it wasn't available to me. So I went into business, and then business didn't teach me anything. It was just kind of whatever. But
What do you
long
mean?
story,
Wait. It didn't teach you anything? Seriously?
I don't think there was, if I were to look back on it and be really honest, there was one course that was memorable that I can remember saying, this taught me more about business than anything else. And it was an entrepreneurship class. And essentially, we played a game, and it was a digital game where you would put the inputs in, and it would tell you what the outputs were, and you ranked amongst your other classmates. And we had to, basically, it was a shoe company, and you had to pick pick a spot on the board. Where are you going to start? Are you going to be the low cost leader? Are you going to be bougie and unique, with your high price point? Where do you kind of fit? And it just taught me a lot about business models and real world application of principles. But everything else was just kind of like, read this textbook, answer these questions.
Oh,
The marketing course was, I don't know, kind of bad. And so I didn't know what to do with my life coming out of that. And I got some really bad jobs here in town. And like, I worked at a food cart the first year after graduating college. And you're like, oh man, I got a $500 bill a month coming here really soon. How am I going to pay for this? Blah, blah,
yeah.
blah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Long story short, I can kind of skip the middle of it, but I eventually fell into like the creative space. And that's when I started dabbling back into graphic design, but kind of learning through doing
Right.
on my own.
Yeah.
And I guess I should tell some of the middle space a little bit. I started a company that sold kids scooters,
Okay.
like the ones that you see at the skate park.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't have the resources to do the design, do the video work, make the logo. So I did it all. And I basically taught myself all the things that I know now. And one of those things was like some motion design, um, hacking it together. You get a template first, and then you're like, okay, now this doesn't do what I want it to do. So how can I actually make it? But if I stare at the template long enough, I can I can be like, okay, there's this line here,
Oh my
and
god.
when the little line thing hits this point,
My
okay, I
god.
could like
Serious?
this process of just
Wow.
staring at these things for hours and hours and hours until I could decode it.
Wow.
And then I started putting some things together, and then I did some pretty fun stuff, like all by hand. Actually, I should probably send you a couple of videos that I've done.
Oh,
They're
I would love it.
they're pretty they're pretty fun. They're all in the scooter industry, so that's the content itself is like meh. But I think what I did was really kind of cool. So
Okay, send 'em my way.
yeah, it's a very long way of saying that I understand a little bit about your world.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah. Geez, I don't know. I kind of went on a big rant there. I don't know where to take it.
So, Ben, it's
Sure.
changed
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
especially, during the pandemic. So many people moved here, even in the last 3 years, completely different place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's wild. And I mean, I think it's really good to hear that you're getting work again in that
Yeah,
space.
for sure.
I guess I'm curious if some of that is from here or if it's none of it's
No,
here.
none of it's here. I have never had work locally. The only thing I've done locally was, I was part of the Bend Design Conference for about 8 or 8-ish years,
Yeah.
and I did a bunch of programming for them and built exhibits, but that's kind of it. Locally, the work here has seemed to be more web-based, and I'm not a web designer, um but it does seem like the creative industry is becoming more active here as people, especially from California, move here and
Mhm.
think it's a good place to start a business.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on. And my experience is web design in the past seemed to come first when gentrification is happening in a town. And then that seems to be followed by motion design because we're like the cherry on top. So people need
Interesting.
money, they build the thing, they need money, and then when they're ready to go into hardcore advertising marketing, they come to the motion designers.
Interesting. Yeah. I I I would agree that the web is the first thing.
It's always the first thing.
And I don't quite understand why. Do you have any insight on that?
I don't know. When I moved to Denver, it was smallish and then it gentrified and it was the exact same pattern. And and it's happening here and that's kind of why I recognize it because when I went to Denver, I was struggling to find work and I was with this small group of motion designers at the time. We were all trying to kind of figure out how to navigate the creative industry there. Excuse me. And the reason I moved to Denver was because I had graduated from California College of Arts in San Francisco, and I couldn't find a really good job. My rent was really expensive. My husband worked at an art foundry as a master mold maker, and they were going under. And so we were like, we have to jump. We
Mhm.
can't afford this. So we jumped to Denver very impulsively. And
Sure.
and thought it would be easier, and it wasn't. So Denver started out kind of like here, it was a smallish town, um, and there was a lot of web, a lot of web, and I would interview, and they couldn't understand what I did exactly compared to the web world, and then motion followed, and it's happening right now in Bend. Bend is a little
It's
behind.
yeah. I mean, that's what kind of drew me to this place. Um, there's so many nuances, and not to take us off of the motion design, but um, you used to be able to walk down the street and people would stop in their cars, like they would stop way back
Yeah.
in anticipation for you to cross.
It's true.
And you're
Yeah,
like, "Oh my gosh, do I gue I guess I should cross right now, like, they're
yeah,
all waiting for me."
it's true, it was so sweet.
It was a very interesting thing, and I just really liked how there was a thriftway store and,
Oh,
um
Thriftway, oh my god. Yeah,
there was just places like that that you went. I suppose Newport was around when I moved here, but that was fancy.
yeah, it was
Um
fancy.
Yeah, it's just really interesting how it used to be culturally different, and it had a different feel, and it was very small feeling, and that's been lost,
Oh, it's
um,
gone. Yeah.
completely gone, and I guess that's I don't know, it's maybe good for some things and bad for other things, and I probably like to live in the it's bad zone, but that's okay. Um, but back to the motion design stuff, I'm kind of curious about it. Um, and it is interesting about the wave, how it starts in web.
Yeah,
I see it sort of in the small little pocket that I'm in at the agency. We basically just did brand stuff. That's
right.
all we wanted to do,
Yeah,
and nobody knew what brand was
right.
or how to do it.
Yeah.
So the entry point was always a website. We need a website.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the job was, how do we switch their mindset from, you probably don't need a website, or you will need a website at some point in time, but what do we put on that website? We
That's right.
probably need to start over here.
Right.
And I don't know, in the last year or so, I've switched to more of a marketing role where it seems easier for me to sell because I can say that there's an outcome from the work that I'm doing, as opposed to brand. It's like, here's all your brand stuff. And they're like, I spent a bunch of money. What did I get? I just got a book.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
don't quite get that thing. And I'm assuming that motion design is very similar, but it seems like motion design can be tied to some outcome because you use it in advertising, or I suppose it depends on the application of it. But in this marketing zone now, I still feel that divide. I need to get awareness. I need to get my products out there, whatever. But I need a website. So it kind of
yeah.
always goes back to that. So how does the cycle go from that being the entry point to motion design coming into the picture?
So I think you're right. People recognize that, they need something to be more visible, but they don't understand the problem that they're solving. And then, your job is to help them understand why what the problem to help define the problem so they understand who their niche is, how they position themselves, what the branding is doing, why it's important. And then once I kind of have that sense, then it moves into the advertising, marketing realm. And then that's where you would find motion design is once you have your identity set, you know who your niche is, you know what problem you're here to solve. Um, then how do you go out into the world and beyond your website, beyond your identity, beyond your niche, and how do you reach people? And then motion design is really great because, as you know, it creates a dopamine reaction
Of
in
course.
people's brains.
Yeah.
So we are literally the cherry on top. We like hook you in there, make you want to watch and learn stuff about a company, or hopefully, and we're entertaining. Um,
Yeah.
so if people understand the value of motion design and why people watch it, then they're more apt to use it. So that it's also part of the educational component as well. Um, People are not going to want to spend money on motion design if they don't understand the value of it or why it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you see motion design going? Maybe in terms of the AI stuff, maybe in terms of the accessibility to tools now. Like it seems like you can do some wild stuff from your phone sitting on your couch,
Yeah.
whereas before you needed a CD to put in your computer to run, a program. Um, where do you see it? Where do you see that going?
So poor motion design. I don't know where this is going. The reason is because I've done a lot of AI experimentation and I'm really well versed in a lot of AI programs. In fact, I teach workshops to artists and designers to help them level up just so that they understand what that technology is so they can make choices. Because you can't make choices if you don't understand what you're dealing with. Um, so AI is really great for automation. It's fantastic for production work. And I personally am really happy about some of those things. Like the fact I can drop out a background in 2 seconds makes me super happy.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to spend my time doing that, but there's a lot of fear around it's going to take jobs and replace people. And not that that's a definite possibility, but there is a human component to this where AI does not understand things like context and culture, and I don't think it ever will because it doesn't have feelings.
Sure.
So,
And the thing about culture and context is that it shifts constantly,
oh
even by a fraction here and there, right? So I don't need to continue with that, but it just shifts all the time. So I don't think it can pick up.
no, no, no. I mean, it's not in a body, excuse me, so it doesn't experience the things that we experience having a brain, right? We're kind of hardwired to understand certain experiences, to have feelings and emotions around certain things. Like I said, the dopamine reaction with motion is a physical human experience, not an AI experience. So, what I think is going to happen, the future of motion design is we're already doing it. We're swinging one way where anybody and everybody is jumping in saying, "Oh, I don't need to understand design principles. I don't need to be an artist. I don't need to be educated. I can just use AI." And we see sort of the dumbing down and the watering down of design and even thinking the way we think about problems, and we just hand our power over to something else. But because it doesn't understand the things that are so important to design, I think we're going to swing back the other way, which I think is what's just starting to happen where people used it. They lost some money because of the limitations and the lack of understanding, and they bought into some hype. AI is super powerful. It's an amazing tool, but it's a tool. It's not just the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
I think design's feeling this across the board. And then motion design, of course, is always also getting hit with things like the writer's strike and now some problems in Hollywood and the fires. Like it's all affecting us. Um, so the future's kind of tenuous. I'm not sure where it's going. I don't think it'll go away, but I do think it will change.
Yeah. It's interesting. I probably need to reach out and get some training on these things because it's not that I am against AI. It's not that I am too stupid to figure it out. It's that it's been happening so fast and
So
that I can't keep up with
fast.
it. And there's so many options that you don't really know which one to go with. And I'll ask like ChatGPT, how can I use you to take the production off of my hands? And it tells me all this stuff, and either I don't understand it or I can't see the application of that. So I'm still doing everything manually. I'll use ChatGPT to refine. I'll use it to kind of maybe get some inspiration. I'll use it mostly in writing to kind of clean things up, but you know, it's kind of a son of a bitch because you have something that you think is almost beautifully written and you're like, I just need to like shift this just a hair. And then it rewrites it completely different. And you're like, no, I didn't ask for that. And you're like,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying, and I don't need a master class from you right this moment, but I'm saying like, I don't know how to get the production off my hands. And because every time I've tried, it's just complete garbage. And maybe it's the tools that I'm using, maybe it's the prompts that I'm giving, but I don't understand that stuff right now. And in my opinion, I don't see how people are creating these beautiful AI videos and motion designs and photos and things like that. It's just, to me, it's not there yet, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I give it a 60% there right now. I think it's knowing how to ask the right questions, which is, that's like the design conundrum, like asking
Hmm.
the right questions, but also understanding like how to manipulate's not the right word, but how to use a tool in the way to get the right outcome. Um, I do think it will take more and more production off our hands, and we've got Adobe Max, I think, coming up here, and they always have some mind-blowing crazy thing that makes our life easier with AI, now that they're on the AI train.
Yeah.
But I do think, um, it's a really powerful tool. It can do a lot of amazing things, but it's not gonna replace humans, and we'll just see what happens. Like I think in the next year, we're going to see huge jumps. And I'm with you. I had to take a break because it was moving so fast. I got really overwhelmed,
Yeah.
really, really overwhelmed.
I had to take a break because I was maybe leaning on it too much. And I realized that I had become dumber in the matter of like, not even kidding, within a week or two, where every task, I just plug it into ChatGPT and be like, I need this thing. And I just kind of started to gloss over and I caught myself. I'm like, whoa, holy cow, I can't do this. And
Yep.
that was around the same time that the study came out from Harvard that said
Oh,
using it reduced, I don't remember what it reduced. It reduced the usage of your brain by 40% or something. And I was like, this is the only thing that I have that
yeah.
separates me from anybody else in this town. Because I also do web design. I also do marketing. I also do advertising. I also do branding. I also do graphic design and copywriting and all that stuff. this is the only thing that separates me from anybody else. So you either like me and my style, and if I abandon that,
Yep.
I have nothing left. I'm just a
That's right.
production facility.
That's it.
So I really had to catch myself and go, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. What am I doing here? And I think I just turned it off for a while. I don't think you can literally turn it off, but I just consciously said I'm not even gonna look at that screen
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, back in the day when you wanted to produce an ad, you didn't even have a computer. You had to cut out photos and set your type and lay it all out, right? It was just a completely different thing. So every new evolution of tools feels like it's going to take my job at some point in times. So I get that we can all have that feeling in this industry, but I do think that there's always going to be people who value the human aspect of it and just say, I understand that a tool can make this for me, but I want what you do. So I think that's always going to exist. But I'm also super curious, like, where is this going to go? Are we going to get to a place where all of the production is handled by one of these? It seems like it'd be pretty nice. I think personally I would like it because I am not the best production guy. I'm a little bit more in the headspace and thinking and trying to solve problems and making the connections and seeing the big arc from where we are now to where we want to be. How do we pull that together? But then when it comes to me pushing pixels around, I, I start to glitch a little bit and my eyes start to tweak, and it's just a weird space. So I don't know. I'm maybe hoping that you can share with me someday how we can use some of these tools better.
Yeah. I give it just a few more months. It's coming.
Really?
It's coming. Have you watched the podcast called The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett?
Yeah.
There's a brand new one with Mo Gawat. Do you know him? Google. I think he's a Google X chief. Was the one of the chief officers.
Yeah. I listened to the one with Daniel Priestley, uh, the other guy. Was it Replit, the CEO of Replit? I think it's Amon. Anyways, it's not that. You're not talking about that one, correct?
No, no.
Okay. So it's a different one.
This one came out just a couple days ago, and Mo Gawat is like one of the big thinkers around AI and the future and where we're going. I would watch it.
Cool.
It will blow your mind. Um, yeah, yeah. It's he 2 years ago he had a great interview with him, and he kind of spoke about what's happening right now, and he goes on in this interview to adjust some of his thoughts on it based on what's happening and where he sees that this is going. So um,
Very cool.
I love him. He's amazing. Stephen Bartlett is an amazing host. I really love that podcast.
Yeah.
I think you would be surprised.
I'll check it out. I'm definitely interested. And I'm also interested in where this stuff is going. Like if are we in the Matrix? Or like all of
Yeah.
that idea, like is AI just our awakening to the things that have already been happening? I mean, we're getting down some weird rabbit holes here, but I'm also interested in that part of the AI. What is this thing? Do we understand what we're doing? Is it going to become sentient? I don't know. Yeah.
So that reminds me of one other thing. There are two amazing AI people in town, and they have a conference every fall called Artificiality.
Hmm.
Dave and Helen Edwards. Um, and last time I spoke with them, because I was really curious, I asked them about what is the future of this, where is it going? And Helen is an AI scientist. She used to work for bigger companies predicting future trends in AI. And she feels that the next um, era of study is going to be consciousness, and can we recreate it? And that's kind of where we're at with AI right now. It's already learning. They're forming little groups within their server and learning from each other, which they didn't expect to happen without human interaction. So there is kind of I wouldn't call it consciousness, but a drive to expand whatever they are. Yeah, so we'll see.
So crazy.
It's gonna get crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we've already heard the stories of like Google having to pull the plug on a system because it's created in a language that nobody understands and talking to itself in some other encrypted language. Like that's some wild stuff. So it absolutely does not surprise me that there's these little clusters of like knowledge base that's kind
Yeah.
of starting to form. And I mean, if you think about the human brain, I suppose it depends on the personality type of the person, but generally speaking, information is understood through patterns.
Yeah.
That's the general
Yes.
consensus of it,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
It's not like 1 through 5 are the answers.
Right.
It's like this thing happened in this time period under these circumstances, and I can see that that is happening over in this place in a different time in a different industry or different grouping of people, but the similar thing is happening.
Right.
So it's all pattern recognition. And when you have billions of inputs a day, or I don't even know what that is, like you would have to assume that these things are starting to look for patterns. Will it turn around and then say this is the definitive answer based on those clusters? I don't know. Will it start to break those clusters out into more clusters and deeper? And will it continue to learn? And then at what point in time will it start making decisions or assumptions on its own based on the knowledge that it's learned from our inputs? Whew, it's a
Yeah.
wild one.
Uh, the interesting part about this is the intelligence level. Like, I think a really smart human, what's your IQ? Like 100 and something. I think Einstein's like 150 or 40 or somewhere around there. AI's intelligence is growing exponentially. So once it reaches like an IQ of 6,000, we have no idea what that looks like, what kind of thought process that is, what the decision making looks like. But I have hope because, in general, higher level of intelligence um, for humans is like our prefrontal cortex when we develop this front part of our brain. And that's around things like cooperation and problem solving and creativity. So if AI is increasing in intelligence, my hope is it's going to see problems very differently, and it's not going to see it like an animal in our reptilian brain with war and violence and fighting. Um, and I think it could be maybe better for us in the long run, but don't quote me on that. I don't know.
I'm going to hold you to that,
Don't hold
Heather.
me to that. But
When the
I'm
Terminators
hoping.
show up,
Oh, no, no.
I'm calling Heather.
No, I'm hoping that's the truth, that I can use humans' evolution, biological evolution, as sort of a way to gauge how intelligence evolves, because they're learning like children. The AIs we're teaching them like we would teach our own kids.
I like that you have a positive outlook on it. I I don't necessarily think that I have a doomsday outlook on it, but in my own pattern recognition that I have in my brain and the whole arc of it, I guess I've just seen too many movies that seem crazy. Like it, is it gonna be so smart that it's like, "Oh, these humans are so dumb, we can just wipe them out so easily."
Sure. Pest control. Mhm.
Right, like, is that a thing? I mean
Yeah, that could be a thing. It could be like they're too destructive. They're if if high level intelligence understands what creates a harmonious, balanced planet where things don't fall apart, we're a problem.
Right.
Mhm.
Maybe it treats us like we have treated animals, where it's like, "No, we can hunt them, we just don't want the populations to be below this amount."
Oh my god, I never even thought about that.
I don't know. I that just randomly popped in, but that's what we do to control populations. So what if
True.
it says the same about us at some point in time? Because let's face it, we have a lot of humans on this planet. And so
Overpopulation, yeah,
what if it says, "Hey, we've got too many humans. We have to take care of this problem. We don't
right?
want to kill them all off, but we're going to take some of them out."
Yeah,
Will
that's
it
possible.
ask us if we can choose who goes?
Oh god,
No, I'm kidding.
dark.
Oh,
We're going
yes.
dark.
It's a really crazy thing. I don't know. I am trying to ride the wave though and enjoy the help in certain areas. Um, I'm not super worried about losing the job just yet, but part of the thing that I'm doing with the podcast is an attempt to start to move away from client work and I hate to say it, join the club and be a talking head on the internet.
Yeah,
And so that's what we're doing here. But maybe people like it. Maybe people like me. Maybe people like you. And if they do, then we're not so reliant on the machines or the AI.
right. Well, I also
It'll
think sorry, it's just a good time for human connection, like, we need each other
yeah.
right now a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I when I joined Jose's community, my brain was not in that zone. I guess I thought, "Oh, this is a great place where I get to learn from Jose."
Yeah,
Like, how cool. I
yeah,
get to be a part of his club, and he's gonna be teaching me stuff all the time, and then like, very quickly realized, like, "Oh, it's not really like that." And then we had a conversation, I suppose it was last week, and he was sharing, his idea of the community and where it's going and what he would like it to be. And I thought that was really cool and really interesting, where the community can be anything that it wants to be. I'm not in control of this ship. Like, we're all here. We can all talk about our problems, the good things that happen in our day, right? Bad things, everything, and let it form its own identity. And I thought that was really cool and really interesting. And now that we're having more talks about AI and such, it's like, oh no, I do need a spot like that. I never kind of thought of myself as someone who needed that, but now I realize I very much do.
yeah, I mean, I'm super introverted, and I'm not, like, you won't find me, like, doing the social thing very often.
Not cruising around.
Not cruising around, but it is really nice to be part of a community and to reach out and touch base with people, because it can be really isolating and lonely running your own business out in a forest, and
The
also
Woodhood.
the woodhood, and as AI takes over, it's like and we lose some of that humanity. I mean, I think people underestimate how hardwired we are to need that thing.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. Moving up here was my attempt to get away from people, and they all followed. I'm not saying they followed me,
No,
but
but
I'm saying that people moved up here, and now it's one of those places where I'm like, oh gosh, there's too many people. I don't want them here. But I guess the whole point to tie it into what you're talking about is that I've realized that in, I don't know, the last few years, like, I would be nothing without people around me. I may not like people and I might have opinions on people, but I would also be nothing without people. So it's this weird like dichotomy that lives in my brain, and um, I share that same sentiment as you. It's like I would be nothing without them.
Yeah. It's gotta be the right people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know your personality type from Myers-Briggs?
I do.
Do you mind sharing it?
I'm an INFJ.
INFJ. Awesome. That's so great. So I'm an ENTP.
So you're extroverted.
Yeah, very extroverted. But and Jose did a little bit of a reading on our show, and he's been sending me some things. I'm the I'm like the introverted extrovert. So yeah, it's I get energy from being around people and doing things, but I have to retract and go into like a cave. And a cave can just be a quiet room by myself to think and decompress and process. And um, it's a really odd thing. So I say introverted extrovert because I'm not one of those extroverts that just wants to go out and do like dance club and go party and then go from the mountain to the
Oh
river.
my
You
god.
know, I
Yeah,
can't be that person.
yeah.
I've got one thing in the day that I can do. If I go out, I'm coming back, and I need to sit down and lay down and be done with the day. The reason I asked you that question is because you said you're super introverted. And as a Myers Briggs buff, I know the INFJ well. I'm married to one.
No. You know the
uh,
type.
I know the INFJ very well, and I studied the
Oh,
INFJ
no.
because I'll make it quick. Around 30, I had my first big heartbreak, and I couldn't understand, why things like this would happen. Why when I say something, somebody else doesn't understand what I say, and vice versa. So I went down this journey of understanding Myers-Briggs and the personality types and learning about myself, um and then I was like, well, what is the perfect match for an ENTP? And then the internet said INFJ. And I was like, well, what is an INFJ? Who are they? What do they do? Um, and I learned a lot about them, and I'm still learning a lot about the INFJ. But my wife she's introverted, but she's like, I kind of have to be out in the world and experience all these things. And so that's a very different trait than what you kind of talk about. And
Right.
it's funny that it's the same type, but I know there's variables in there. And so I just wanted to talk about I don't know, I guess maybe the not necessarily the type, but why you're so introverted, and like what it is that has kind of kept you in the wood hoods.
Mm. Well, I have I'm introverted and I'm also a little bit shy. The
Hmm.
shy part, that's more of a psychological component that I developed over time, based on some life experiences. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, being a weirdo growing up in a small town was one of those things.
And then
Uh,
moving to big cities and
and then
doing big city things.
big city things. Um, I've always been introverted, but I love people. And I love community, and I'm kind of like your wife, like, I've traveled a lot, I need to be out, I don't like to be too isolated, but I'm exhausted by it.
Hmm.
Totally like, when I would do the Bend Design Conference, it would take me 2 weeks to recover because that was
Whoa.
400 people, all of this, interaction and working with a lot of teams, and then the day of the 400 people, people would recognize me. So people would always mistake me for an extrovert because I know how to do the thing,
Hmm.
but it's really hard.
So there's an odd thing about the INFJ that I I knew a little bit about, but my wife has told me, And she didn't understand it for a long time until we started talking about personality types. And then it sort of dawned on her. But I'll butcher the quote, but she says something to the effect of, people are just drawn to me. I could
Mhm,
be in a coffee shop
mhm,
having coffee,
mhm,
reading a book,
mhm.
and people will just walk up to me
Yep,
and start talking to me. And
that's
I don't have a clue why. I'm the opposite as the extrovert. Nobody walks up to me and says hi to me.
that's really funny.
Nobody
There's
wants to
no
talk
one
to
who wants
me.
to talk to you. Oh, yeah. I think it's the INFJs have a lot of empathy, and I think we, have a lot of openness naturally, um, and people are drawn to that. I don't know, there's just it's like a magnetic thing. Yeah.
It really it really is. Yeah, I think even my wife questioned, my intent when we started dating. She hasn't said this. I'm just projecting, but it's probably stemming from something like that because she can be anywhere and people just, I don't know, I like your shoes or your
Yep,
hair or what are you reading or there's some force out there that just draws people
yep,
to that type. And
yep.
she feels the same way when she does her big weekly, I'm sorry, it's not a weekly thing. She works for a software company and they do an offsite where they all go get together at a location. They do company stuff. You know what an offsite is. Um, when she gets back from that week, I don't even know how long it takes her to recover, but it's like, don't talk to me.
Yes,
Just leave me
exactly,
alone. It's just like
exactly.
I have to, and I understand it because I need that almost every day. So I can come to work, I go out to lunch and I hang out with people, I talk to people on the street. Like it's just this weird thing. But when I'm done, all set. I'm
Yeah,
done for the
you're
day.
done, you're done.
Yeah, going back out in the world is like, oh boy. All right. Let's gear back up. And she's kind of the opposite because she comes to work, she sits in her box and she does her box. Though she talks to people all day, it's not the same input. And so she's done with work and she's like, let's go down to the river. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm so done.
Yeah, and nature also recharges INFJs, so
Yeah,
yeah.
it really does. Yeah. And my wife, she just can't wait to go down to the river and just have a picnic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I need my cave. I need to go to my cave right now. So there's always this like balance that we have to strike in our relationship there. But it is very interesting the INFJ and how they attract people, how they need to be recharged. Um, so it's interesting. I would assume that there's a lot of INFJs in like design. It seems like that would be the right space for them.
You would think. I
But there's also not a lot of INFJs out there, period.
no, I don't
So
meet a lot of them. Yeah.
yeah, I remember when I was dating, I think I had written in my profile like, "Are you an INFJ? I want to meet you."
Are you kidding me?
at one
Seriously?
at one point, because I tried a lot of different lines, right? Because I was trying to stand out, I was trying to be different, whatever, whatever. And at one point,
Seriously.
I'm pretty sure I was like, "I just need to find the INFJs. Are you guys out there?" Nobody responded.
Yeah, I guess we're not there's not a lot of us.
Nope, not at all.
Does your wife also have that thing of feeling other people's energy really
Oh
easily?
gosh,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
She absorbs it. And
Well,
if you're around multiple people and there's multiple types of energy going on, she's absorbing all of that. And I've had to learn, well, not only not to react to that. So I'm just like, what's going on?
mm,
Like how did your energy shift so much? Because I don't know if it's unique to an ENTP or not, but I don't take on anybody's energy
yeah, you're so
other
lucky.
than other than my wife.
Yeah.
Be like, I'll take her energy
Of
on,
course. Of course.
which is comprised of everybody's energy in the room.
Right.
So it is a lot.
It's a lot.
Um, but yeah, she very much takes on that energy. It's an interesting thing. And I don't.
That would
I
be
don't
so
know.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. I actually, I became aware of that when I was about 13. I was really struggling with um, understanding where my energy began and stopped and where somebody else's energy began and stopped. Um, and I've kind of gotten better at it, but it's a struggle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't I mean, I didn't start paying attention to myself until around 30. And maybe that's in line with the male's prefrontal cortex not developing, and I don't want to say it finally developed at 30, but maybe it did.
I would agree. I would agree.
And so, I spent all of my life up until that time of just experiencing things and doing things. And I'd lived a very extroverted life, and it was just constantly going places and doing things. You just get in the car and you drive to a new state. You didn't even know where you were going. You just got in the car and you just went. Uh, that's how I landed in Bend. That's how I discovered all the places in Oregon that I think are beautiful. It's just wake up, get in the car, and go and drive. Um, and it wasn't until around 30 that I had that moment in time that I'm like, whoa, hold on. I have to figure this thing out. And I've been on that journey for the last 10 years. But it's interesting to hear that you say around 13 is when you figured or started thinking about that.
Yeah. I did.
That's, yeah. I mean, that's my wife has a very similar story, right? Like at a very young age, she was like,
What the hell?
what the hell is going, like,
Yeah.
why do people talk to me all the time? Why do people
Yeah.
like me? Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always had this idea in my head that I was different from a very young age, but the context to me was this little family box that I was in. So I was like, I'm different from my parents
Yeah.
and I'm different from my siblings, but I didn't really expand that box out into the friend group or anything there. Um, my parents are on the opposite spectrum of me in the Myers-Briggs. So
Really?
whatever their letters are, the only one that matters is the N or the S. And my parents are sensors and I'm an intuitive. And
Oh,
that's the main letter that kind of shifts how you process information.
really?
And so my parents are the type of people who they rely on information given to them. They're not going to think too deeply about it. So when the doctor says, you need to take this medicine, they take the medicine.
Right.
And when the doctor tells me I'm supposed to take a medicine, I go, wait a minute,
Why?
why?
Huh?
So growing up, being around two parents that were like that, I was constantly in a why? Why anything state? That was maybe one of the motivations to move away and to get away from them was just like I, it didn't matter what the scenario was. Um, I didn't do my homework, and my parents are like, "You have to do your homework because you have to get good grades because you have to graduate to get a good job to get it." Da, 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 da.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, "Why?"
Oh boy.
So I'm sure I was a terror as a kid. Uh, So I always thought I was different, and I was different from them, but it didn't start to extrapolate out into the greater world until I had moved away and then started to explore new friendships and new opportunities and people, and then get into the working world and sort of develop that. I wish that I could have recognized that a little bit sooner, but maybe it's that male thing that doesn't happen until later in life. I don't know.
It's true.
Yeah,
No shade. It's the truth. Yeah.
it is. It really is. And I feel thankful and lucky that I didn't do anything terrible before that happened, right? That would have changed the path that I'm on right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Any number of things could have happened at
Eh,
any point in time.
this is very true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, gosh, how did we get so far away from
Design,
design? Yeah,
entrepreneurship, because all
entrepreneurship.
this stuff feeds into it.
It is. It's a part of our journey. I guess I could tie it all back really quick. How did you h- and it just comes in the form of a question. How
Okay.
did you decide that out of art school you wanted to work for yourself as opposed to, I don't know, join an agency or a firm or something like that?
Mhm.
What did that path look like?
So I did work for a couple companies, but it's better now, but at that time, the motion design world, there weren't a lot of women, and I was having a really hard go of it. Um, I'm also really independent, disciplined type of person, and I create my own structure naturally, so sort of a natural inclination to run my own thing. And I also am really independent. I don't like being told what to do. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's that too. Um, and I just wasn't getting the life and the result that I wanted working for bigger companies. Also, as a humanitarian, some of the ethics surrounding some of these companies, I couldn't align myself with what I was seeing. So there were multiple reasons. Um, and really, entrepreneurship just really suits my personality type too,
Mhm.
you know? And it's a great way if you're not getting the result you wanted to just kind of take control of your own life and make choices that are better suited for you. It's not for everybody. It definitely, some people, it's really scary to do that.
Yeah.
You have to be a risk taker.
I'm a risk taker, and I think oftentimes this isn't for me. That's how
Yeah,
wild it
it's
is.
hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a harder path for sure.
If you don't mind sharing, I'd like to know what the things were that happened in the agencies that were kind of against your values that you were like, again, you don't have to share names or details or anything like that. I'm just curious because I've seen some of those things happen in my life, and I don't know if I just skirted my way around them and I never said them. Like, I want to know what they were and how you handled it and what that looked like.
So, eh, just right off the bat, there was a lot of, sexism, a lot of it, an incredible amount of it. In some of the agencies I worked for, there were some big drug problems, with people.
Whoa.
Yeah, partly it's the, work all night, grind mentality, so all-nighter, 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 and how are you gonna maintain that?
Yeah.
Um,
There's
because
one way.
there's one way.
There's a couple ways, I suppose. Yeah.
Some people made certain choices and got themselves into a little bit of a situation. I also have some issues with hierarchical, treatment or the way sometimes people will pit people against each other, that sort of dog eat dog competitive thing. I'm a very inclusive person, and I think um, we come to better solutions when we cooperate. And I'm not interested in the you're better, you're worse. It's so subjective and it can
Mhm.
affect people's lives. I've watched
Yeah.
so many people be tremendously wounded by that. And it was just that specific environment, not that they couldn't do great things.
Yeah.
It's an empathy thing too, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to immediately see. I have ability to immediately see people's talents, and skill and what makes them, um, really adept at certain things, and it would just bug me when I would watch bullying happening because
Yeah.
someone was not as outspoken or maybe, they were more introverted like me and someone was talking over them in a meeting and taking, their ideas and making them their own, you know? So, I just can't get behind that. That culture,
Yeah.
I cannot get behind it.
Did you have any positive interactions in an agency or something like that?
I did. So,
Or a company? Yeah.
I had one, company I was working for where I had the most amazing creative director of all time. Um, and he was so encouraging and respectful, um, and the way he handled his team, it was joyful. Everybody loved him. We loved doing our job. We felt, uh, like, really empowered as a team, and he built community, which was very different than the competitive thing. Um, and we all felt like we had our own unique skills and talents, and he made us aware of our weaknesses, but it wasn't in a derogatory kind of way. It was like, "This is not where you belong. You belong over here," but it was positive.
Mhm.
Um, Leadership matters in a big
Yeah.
way.
I realized that at the agency, and we had a team of 7, I think, maybe at one point in time. And I don't think I would love to hear from the people that I worked with at that time if what I'm about to say is incorrect, but I would like to think that I never put anybody down. I never put us in a competitive situation where it's like
Mhm.
you better outperform that person, otherwise they're
That's
going to
right.
take your job or
That's
something.
right. Yep.
But I do and did have like a vision in mind for this. And if we weren't hitting that vision as an ENTP, you can be very excitable and kind of loud and boisterous, right? And sometimes it's perceived as anger, but it's not necessarily anger. It's more like it's meant to drive
Right.
and get us all excited
I understand that.
and do that. And so I guess I'd like to know from them, and maybe I should bring a few of them on this show and ask them this question, because I just want to know who I was at that point in time. I had blinders on. You know, I was a partner, so I had stake in the company. So it was, um, I wasn't just brought on to just manage a team or lead creative or something. I had stake in the company, and I wanted to push us and our abilities up and up and up. I wanted to be recognized. I didn't think that we were going to hit a Wieden Kennedy level or something like that, but I wanted to be in like the murmur zone or parliament, or one of those zones where it's like, and those are people that I admire, and their style is the style that I've kind of taken on. And so I wanted to push us up out of our local zone of doing the same things and kind of let's get up into that zone. So this is maybe just all to say, I wonder if I did some of the things that you disliked in your experience, but I wonder if I also did some of the things that you would have liked. Um, Not for approval, just my own learning experience of what that agency experience was like for the whole team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean that I'm not driven. I'm really ambitious and driven, and I like
Yeah.
to push the envelope, and I like to explore.
It's just
Um,
how it's done.
it's just how it's done. Like, are you being respectful?
Yeah.
Are you using someone to the best of their ability, or are you tearing them down because you're insecure in yourself? And then what are the repercussions? And leaders have to really think about, um, how they're building their teams. It's super important.
Yeah. Well, my wife is the VP of sales at that software company, and I I get to kind of sit back and hear and observe and watch and listen to the things that she's doing, and that is what she's super keen on. I think it's what makes a great leader isn't can you identify the best work? It's like who this person is, what their intentions are, where their ethics kind of live, what their vibes are, and that's what my wife is all about. And
Mhm,
sounds
mhm,
like you're very
mhm,
much in that same zone.
mhm.
I don't quite know how to identify those things the way that you guys do. Um, I don't know. I maybe lead in a different way.
That's good though. You need
Sure,
different
possibly.
well, it's
As long as
important.
it's good and not bad.
As long as it's respectful, that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? Like, I'm not saying my creative director, if I messed up or I didn't hit the mark, he let me know very quickly and
Yeah.
very clearly, and he wasn't just handling me with kid gloves, ever,
Yeah. For
ever. I
sure.
mean, that's not what I mean. I just mean I don't think there's a reason to crush somebody or hurt or bruise their ego to the point that they want to leave the industry or um, they cannot perform to the level they want to perform because everybody has their different like ambitions.
Mhm.
Some people aren't driven, they just want to do their job and do it well. Some people want to climb the ladder, it's all different. So if you understand, in fact, one of my old design professors used to say to me, everybody has their price and everybody has different needs. And if you know what they are, then you can really work with people and negotiate, which I think that's the crux of it instead
Sure.
of running over top.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you find it challenging in that working for a company or an agency to adapt to styles? Like, was that part of the reason that you were like, I'm getting beat up by the creative director. They're asking me to do these things that I don't even really like in the first place. So if I don't like it, how am I supposed to produce it? And was that maybe one of the reasons that you were like, going solo, I can do things that feel good to me and let people find that? Or are you still in the place where you're like, no, I still have to make
I,
stuff that I don't really like?
I do a lot of stuff I don't like. Yeah, I think that's just part of the job, is I may like it or not like it, but I'm there to solve your problem. Um, and some of the problems, they're very production oriented. They're very, um, make this flawless. It's not about design. It's not about, my artistry in the certain sense. It's about make this perfect based on my standard. And my personal standard may be very, very different than somebody else's. I
Yeah.
gotta make money,
Yeah.
you know?
100%. Yeah. Brian and I were talking about the difference between art and design in our call. And we've been talking about that balance. And this was something I learned at the agency in the early days of it. And it was how I learned about Jose was core, right? And I shamelessly admitted to Brian yesterday that when I discovered core, I didn't think, hey, this is a great way to align business outcomes to the design. I thought this is a great way that I can get the client off my back by saying, you told me this, this, this,
Yes,
and this.
yes,
I made you something that solves these problems and
yes.
you don't like it. Well, too bad. Tough shit, because this is what solves that problem. And that's a really selfish and kind of ego driven approach. I'm happy to say that now it is more like, okay, you don't like what I created. That's fine. But now tell me how your changes will address these problems that we talked about before. Right. So it serves a very similar purpose. I just have a more mature response. to how that goes.
Yeah, it takes time, you know? It
Yeah.
just takes time, like, um, yeah, yeah. It's clients. So, you know, it's that learning how to communicate and understand the needs and then holding your boundaries so you don't feel taken advantage of, right? But everybody is getting what they need, you know, because it's a you need the equal power dynamic
Yeah.
for sure. If
So
that's
if
off,
you
it's bad.
yeah, I agree 100%. So if you had to do your professional career over again, would you go down the same path?
Oh, that's you know what? I don't know. I think there was so much financial pressure for me. I didn't, you know, I put myself through the degree program. I took out loans, so I kind of was in a position where I needed to find a way to support myself. If I had total freedom, I probably would be an artist, honestly. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, if money wasn't
Money
a
wasn't
thing
a
and you
thing.
just wanted to be you.
Yeah. But I think a lot of artists recognize that at a certain point, if you want to make a living, you've got to find a way to plug that talent into something. What's the word? A little more, not corporate, but you know,
Yeah.
involved in the exterior world.
Mhm.
Because being an artist, uh, it's you know, I still do it for myself all the time, and if for some reason at some point that part of me gets attention, I'm able to make money that way, that would be great. But the vehicle of design was a nice parallel for me. So, um, yeah, I don't know. It would all depend on money, and now technology is different.
Sure.
So, I don't know. This is a good
Yeah.
question. I'm not sure.
What type of art would it be?
Uh, this is also a good question because the reason I like AI so much is before I went into design, I was studying dance, theater, and postmodern literature.
Huh? Yeah, okay.
You're not gonna really make a lot of money. Um, yeah, so why I like AI so much is it combines the written word with the visual, which is a lot of what I like to work with. Um, and I think that a lot of people do the opposite. A lot of artists I heard someone say the other day, some people make to think and some people think to make. So, like,
Oh,
people
that's cool.
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I think some visual artists think through their process, which is why they hate AI, and people like me who I always use words first, I already know what I want, and then I'm using AI to make it. So it's a process thing.
It is. I wonder what I do. I have never thought of this. I wonder if I make to think or think to make. I have a feeling that I think to make. Boy, I'd have to think about this. This is gonna be stuck in my head all day.
Profound. This guy who said I wish I could remember his name. I was like, "Wow, that's it. That's it."
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, um, I might have misunderstood, but what is the art that you would do if you had to do with this all over again?
So that's the thing is that there are new my whole point, sorry, is that there are new forms emerging right now that I think I am very, very drawn to that's gonna intersect with technology, but it's not here yet. But I see it coming, and I'm kind of in anticipation of what's going to open. So I think what I may be doing in a year will look very different than what I'm doing right now, but it's not here yet.
Can you share what that is? Or
So
you just wanna, like, not put it out there in the world?
we could I'll give you how about I give you a little
Yeah, give me a little
a little
taster. I
bit.
just wanna, like, Little scoop of the ice cream.
So you were talking about patterns earlier. And what really intrigues me are the way patterns create things and how they overlap. And what AI does is it uses a lot of patterns, but so does art. So I'm playing with this intersection right now of um, the idea of dreaming and AI hallucinations and the combination and the way that patterns intersect and create our realities in our dreams and the way we process and the way AI processes information. There's a really interesting spot in that combination that I'm exploring. And I'd like to create work with my hands, but I'm using the AI hallucinations as the reference. And the you know how, like, when we dream in our subconscious, we're combining patterns and information and creating our realities out of that. And AI does something similar, but it predicts the next step in a sequence. So I'm kind of working on those two areas because there's something there that really intrigues me.
Whoa. That is really cool.
Thank you.
I kind of have to process what you just said.
Yeah, I keep thinking about it.
You know, my brain often, like, I love ethereal things
Mhm.
and I love living in the clouds and spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
But as a T person, which is a thinker,
Yeah.
you always root it in this like logic.
Right.
Like, so that's why I kept asking you, but what? What are you saying? Right. And the answer you gave me was beautiful, but there is no what in that thing. And so I'm still like spinning around going, what could this be? What is this? How does that even look? Do I even understand this?
Well, I'll give you a little more concrete. So how I started to explore it physically was I made some custom Photoshop brushes, and I began painting AI hallucinations that I would create based on my own dream life and then AI's interpretation of that dream life and what it would predict as next. And often, because
Whoa.
it's a dream, I would try to force it into making mistakes so that the subconscious is full of all those bits and pieces of stuff that we process all day, and some things we're not even aware that we see, and it goes into the subconscious, and we have to basically defrag our brains.
Yes, yes. I
Right?
use that I use that metaphor a lot, yep.
Yes. Yeah, so it's sort of like that. Like, I'm playing and I want to paint it with my hands because I want that when you use your left hand, it's a direct connection to certain areas in your brain that you use in your subconscious. So I'm trying to connect those two very physical, very straightforward components of being human with uh, the way AI processes information and its fragments and its mistakes and its processing errors. So I'm just kind of exploring it. There's
Wow.
not a hardcore what yet, but I think
Yeah.
eventually it will get there.
No, I think what helped me is just that little example of how you're pulling it together. So it's not necessarily the why or the what, it's the how. And the how gives me some context of what that could be at some point in time. That is really freaking cool. That's yeah. Um, I don't have anything to share like that.
You know, this is why I live in a forest.
The Wood Hood, for sure. That is that's super cool. Oh man. So I don't know. This might be redundant, but I
Okay.
am curious, like if you had to go back to the very beginning, let's transport
All
back
the way
to
back.
young Heather. What would you do if maybe you weren't in this entrepreneurial path?
Well, where I was, I probably would have gone it would have probably been somewhere dance, theater, or I was also loved creative writing. Somewhere, one of those 2 paths for sure.
So it's still artistic and creative. That's what you would do. I mean, that's cool. It means that you belong in this space.
Mhm. For
If I
sure.
had to go back, I would have just tried to start a toilet paper company
Oh,
so that I
serious?
don't even have to think about anything. People have to
Wow!
wipe themselves. So it's like, here's your toilet paper. I get to make some money and we're done. I don't have to think anymore. No
Yes.
more all of this stuff that you deal with clients and creative and money and blah. You're just like, I turn the machines on, the toilet paper comes out, people buy it. Done.
Be a ski bum, right? Like, it's you just wanna experience life. You just wanna be present.
It really is about that. I've thought about that more recently, like in the last few months. Like what makes me happy
Yeah.
is really like this moment right here.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking about what happened 10 minutes before. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen 30 minutes ahead. It really is right here that makes me happy. And I think a lot of people have that, right? It's a little bit like less structured. I don't really want to be told what to do type of mentality. I think a lot of people with that trait, they do just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. And
Yeah.
that is how I would live. So if money didn't exist, I don't know what I would do, but it would just be whatever I felt like that day. And I am happy in that spot.
I think that's a beautiful spot.
Blinders.
No, but that's great. I mean, honestly, I think that's how we're meant to live, but
Yeah, but the world keeps turning because of that structure that those
I
J's
know,
put
I
on it,
know,
you
I
know?
know, I know. It's true.
It's I mean, what would you do if you came to a stoplight and everyone was a P person?
Oh my god, it'd be chaos.
We're just crashing all the time. People would be like honking and crashing.
Yeah.
We need the J people to be like, no, no, no.
"What are you doing?"
Green means go. Red means stop. And we're like,
That is a
okay.
J trait. Oh my god. That is serious J trait. Yeah. I yes. Mhm.
So the world needs all types, you know? We need J people out there.
Yeah. True. Thank you.
Awesome.
You
Yes,
just
of
validated
course.
that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, where should we take it from here, Heather? Do you have a time constraint? Do you want to get going?
11:33. Well, work.
Yeah, let's get you out of here. I appreciate you so much for being on here and sharing stories and wondering with me. It's very therapeutic for me, and hopefully, you got to say some things that you wanted to say.
I did, and I'm super excited for you to do more of this. Um, I think podcasting is such an amazing way to meet and connect with a lot of different people and to kind of expand your knowledge of even what's possible. Like the amount of times, even speaking with you today, it's like I'm having all these thoughts and ideas about things that weren't here this morning.
That's awesome. I mean, same with me. I'm trying to figure out this intersection of dreams and art and AI,
God,
and
uh,
then I have to figure out whether I think
to make or
um
make to think.
yeah. So there's a lot, and I agree with you, and it's part of the reason that I don't do questions. It's the reason that I just want, if we're comfortable with it, to just start talking and see where it goes. And 100% somebody out there is going to say, well, you're not going to get any clicks that way because the theme, twist and turn and whatever. But that's okay with me. I just like doing this. And now I know you way deeper than the few messages that we've shared on the community or whatever that we have posted. I have a much deeper understanding about you, your path, your journey, what makes you tick, and certainly how you think. Um, so once again, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
Do you want to plug your company,
Oh,
your
sure, sure.
URLs, your podcast? Do you want to just
Yeah,
let
so
her rip?
I also have a podcast with 2 other people. It's called The Developing Life. And you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, anywhere Apple Podcasts. We're all over the place. We focus a lot on community and the creative process and how that's evolving right now with all the changes in tech. I also have my own company called Cremonti. It's cremonti.com. You can also find me under Heather Crank. There aren't a lot of us. So if you just search me, you're
Just
going
the
to find,
pioneers of Bend. Just the
yeah,
pioneers.
just, you'll find me. And I tend to be pretty active on Instagram, but I think Instagram and LinkedIn are my main socials right now. I've kind of pulled back off some of the social media.
Makes sense. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it. Stick around for a few minutes while we get this to upload, and we're done. Thank you.
You're welcome.